Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins are about to step into a slice of NFL history that's been sitting untouched for almost 2 decades, and the way things are lining up, they could do it not once, but in back-to-back weeks. Yes, you heard that right. Something the league hasn't seen in 19 years might be about to unfold, and the Dolphins are right in the center of it all. And no, this has nothing to do with playoff droughts, no mention of undefeated seasons, and no chatter about Super Bowl ghosts. We're talking about something far more specific, a quirk of football history that has been hiding in plain sight, the art of the left-handed quarterback. Think about it. In a league that's always celebrated gunslingers and golden arms, left-handed quarterbacks have been like rare artifacts. There are flashes in time when they show up, make history, maybe even reach the Hall of Fame. But for the most part, they've been outsiders in a right-handed world. Until recently, the Dolphins were holding on to one of the most unusual distinctions in the NFL. They had the league's only lefty starter. That was Tua Tagovailoa, of course, who has been carving out his place in Miami for the past 6 seasons. Every snap he's taken, every throw he's launched, has been a reminder of just how rare his presence is in today's game. For years, Tua was the only southpaw lining up under center in the entire NFL. But football has a funny way of circling back to its quirks. Just last year, the Atlanta Falcons made a move that shook up that lonely stat when rookie Michael Penix Jr. stepped into the starting role. Suddenly, Tua wasn't the only lefty in the room anymore. And when the Dolphins and Falcons were scheduled to play later this season, everyone circled it as a chance to witness something the NFL hasn't rolled out in almost 20 years. A lefty versus lefty quarterback duel. For most fans, it was just another line on the schedule. For football junkies and history buffs, though, this was headline-worthy stuff. But hold on, because here's where it gets even wilder. In an unexpected twist, the Cleveland Browns have now entered the conversation. Week 7, Miami heads into a clash with Cleveland, and the Browns have just announced a quarterback change. Veteran Joe Flacco, who has been the definition of a right-handed pocket passer his entire career, is stepping aside. In his place, rookie Dillon Gabriel takes over. And guess what? Gabriel throws lefty too. That means, in back-to-back weeks, the Dolphins will be facing left-handed quarterbacks. First Gabriel in Cleveland, then Penix in Atlanta. That's 2 consecutive games, 2 consecutive matchups where the field will be dominated by lefties. And if you're still not impressed, let's put this in perspective. This hasn't happened in nearly 2 decades of NFL football. Let's rewind the tape for a second. The last time the NFL staged a matchup between 2 left-handed quarterbacks, the year was 2006. Gas prices were through the roof, flip phones were still a thing, and Michael Vick was still the electrifying heart of the Atlanta Falcons. On September 17th of that year, Vick's Falcons squared off against Chris Sims and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It wasn't a shootout, not even close. The Falcons won 14-3 in a gritty game where Vick did more damage with his legs than his arm, running for 127 yards and a score on top of his modest passing line. That was the last time fans saw 2 southpaws duel it out. Before that, you have to go back to the 2005 playoffs, when Chris Sims led Tampa Bay against Mark Brunell in Washington. So yeah, it's been that long. Now here we are, with Miami set up to deliver not just one, but potentially 2 games featuring left-handed starting quarterbacks in back-to-back weeks. That's not just rare, that's borderline historic. And it opens up a bigger conversation about what this means, not just for the Dolphins, but for the NFL as a whole. Because for all the highlight reels and passing records, the league has never been particularly kind to lefties. Only a handful have ever cracked the top tier. You've got Boomer Esiason at the top of the all-time passing list for lefties with nearly 38,000 yards. Steve Young follows, the Hall of Famer whose name is still synonymous with the position. Then Mark Brunell, Ken Stabler, Michael Vick. The list is short. The legends are fewer. And that's what makes moments like this feel so special, because they're so scarce. But for Miami, this isn't just about trivia. This isn't just about history books. The real question that looms over this team is one that's been hanging around all season. What kind of team are the Dolphins, and what exactly are they playing for? Because quirky milestones and historical oddities don't mean a thing if you're not stacking wins. Yes, Tua brings the left-handed flair, but can he bring the consistency? Can he take this team past the hurdles that have tripped them up in the past? That's the storyline that matters most for Miami. Still, in a league obsessed with narratives, this one is too good to ignore. Think about how wild this 2-week stretch could feel. First, the Dolphins step into Cleveland, a place where defenses thrive and quarterbacks often crumble. They'll line up against Dylan Gabriel, a rookie just getting his first true taste of the NFL spotlight. The Browns are banking on his arm, or in this case, his left arm, to inject some life into an offense that has sputtered under veteran leadership. For Gabriel, this is the chance of a lifetime, a chance to prove he belongs. For Miami, it's an opportunity to feast on inexperience, but also a test. Because rookies sometimes shock you. Rookies sometimes don't know they're supposed to be nervous. And if Gabriel comes out swinging, it could be a much tougher afternoon than Dolphins fans expect. And then, right after that, the stage shifts. Miami heads into a showdown with the Falcons and Michael Penix Jr., another lefty, but this time one with a bigger spotlight and arguably a bigger upside. Penix has been billed as Atlanta's future, the guy who can carry a franchise that's been desperate for an identity since Matt Ryan's decline. And unlike Gabriel, Penix has already shown flashes that make you believe he can go toe-to-toe with almost anyone. That matchup isn't just about novelty. It's about proving who belongs in the conversation for the league's next generation of quarterbacks. So imagine the storylines stacking up. Back-to-back games where Tua looks across the field and sees a reflection of himself, another quarterback winding up with the opposite arm, trying to carve out space in an NFL that hasn't always been kind to southpaws. For fans, it's a quirky piece of history. For the Dolphins, it's a litmus test. And for the league, it's a reminder that sometimes the smallest details, like which hand you throw with, can become part of the bigger picture of football history. This isn't to say the Dolphins are suddenly the center of the universe just because of a scheduling quirk. But if you're looking for storylines that make the NFL the theater that it is, this is exactly the kind of thing that makes fans lean forward and pay attention. Because football is about more than wins and losses. It's about stories. It's about patterns. It's about those little connections that link the present back to the past. And this October, the Dolphins will get the chance to remind everyone of that. Of course, when the dust settles, Miami will be judged on the same criteria as every other team. Are you contenders or are you pretenders? Can Tua deliver not just the flair of being a left-handed anomaly, but the substance of being the quarterback who finally drags this franchise back to relevance on the biggest stage? Facing back-to-back lefty quarterbacks doesn't answer that question, but it does frame the journey in a way that makes you pay attention. It creates a moment, a pause, a bit of history that reminds you that the NFL, for all its power and spectacle, is still a game built on the rare, the unusual, the unexpected. So buckle up, Dolphins fans. History is coming to you in the most unlikely of ways. 2 weeks, 2 games, 2 left-handed quarterbacks staring across the line at Tua Tagovailoa. It hasn't happened in 19 years, and it may not happen again anytime soon. But this is football, and sometimes, the strangest stories turn out to be the ones worth remembering. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Is this really the end of an era in Miami? The whispers have been circulating for weeks, but now it seems like the future of Tyreek Hill might already be decided behind closed doors. Reports are surfacing, sources close to the Dolphins organization hinting that the superstar wide receiver's time in Miami could be coming to an abrupt end. The rumor mill has been churning ever since the season concluded, with insiders pointing to heated meetings, tense negotiations, and subtle signals from the front office that things may not align for the future. While Tyreek has been one of the most electrifying figures on the field, dazzling fans with his speed, agility, and seemingly impossible catches, it appears that the synergy that once made him indispensable in Miami might be shifting in ways the public hasn't fully grasped yet. According to some behind-the-scenes chatter, the decision isn't solely about performance or on-field production, though those are certainly part of the calculus. It's said that the Dolphins management has been quietly assessing their roster, salary cap situation, and the long-term vision of the franchise. There's speculation that Tyreek's contract and the financial implications of keeping him long-term have created tension, not just in the boardroom, but also in discussions between coaches, managers, and even players. While no official statement has been released, sources familiar with the inner workings suggest that the conversation has progressed far enough that a final decision could already be in the books, decided behind closed doors without the drama of public speculation, but now leaking into the rumor ecosystem that fuels fan frenzy. For fans, it's a complicated narrative. Tyreek Hill's impact on Miami has been undeniable, turning games around with his explosive speed and ability to change the dynamics of the offense in a single play. The buzz around him has always been that he's more than a player. He's a game changer, someone who elevates the team and energizes the stadium. But some insiders say that the team's vision for the next chapter might be incompatible with the kind of investment Tyreek represents. Whether it's a matter of shifting strategy, budget reallocation, or a philosophical difference in how the team wants to build their offense, the idea of parting ways has gained traction quietly in Miami's corridors, even as the star himself continues to perform at a high level. There's a hint of inevitability in the whispers, a sense that what's unfolding may not be reversible. The timing of this potential departure is also a hot topic in itself. Some sources suggest that the front office has been meticulously planning the move for months, waiting for the right moment to announce, or perhaps avoid, the news until contractual or league considerations are fully addressed. There's speculation that Tyreek might already know where he stands, having had private discussions with management, yet outwardly, he continues to play with the same intensity that has defined his career. This duality, performing at peak while negotiating a possible exit, is what fuels the tension in the rumor mill. Every practice session, every game, every sideline glance is being scrutinized by fans, analysts, and insiders alike, trying to read between the lines for confirmation of what could soon become official news. Adding another layer to the speculation is the relationship between Tyreek and the coaching staff. While publicly, statements remain supportive and enthusiastic, those close to the situation whisper that there have been philosophical differences regarding play calling, utilization, and the long-term vision for the offensive scheme. Tyreek, known for his dedication, work ethic, and unmatched speed, thrives in a system that maximizes his explosiveness. If the team's strategy is evolving in a direction that reduces that emphasis, it might create an unspoken friction that further fuels rumors of a split. Fans and insiders alike are dissecting game film, past interviews, and sideline interactions, searching for clues that the magician on the field might be preparing for his next chapter elsewhere. Of course, in Miami, where the Dolphins have a storied but complicated history, the narrative of a star leaving isn't new. The franchise has seen iconic players depart under circumstances both dramatic and quietly negotiated. What makes Tyreek Hill's case so intriguing is that he isn't just a high-profile athlete. He's a symbol of the team's recent resurgence and a marketing powerhouse. Losing him would be more than a tactical decision. It would mark a cultural shift, signaling to fans and opponents alike that the Dolphins are taking a new approach, one that might redefine what Miami football looks like in the coming years. The implications extend beyond the field, affecting ticket sales, merchandise, and national perception, making the rumored departure a story that stretches into every corner of the sports world. Even the league is watching closely. Other teams are reportedly monitoring the situation with keen interest, knowing that a player of Tyreek Hill's caliber doesn't come along often. The rumor network suggests that multiple franchises are quietly evaluating the potential to make a move, imagining how a trade or signing could transform their offensive dynamics. For Miami, the decision isn't just about parting ways with talent. It's about the ripple effect across the league, the strategic calculations of competitors, and the broader narrative that could follow a superstar leaving a team that has, until now, seemed like a perfect match. The tension, the secrecy, and the speculation are creating a story that feels larger than life, a saga that could dominate sports headlines for weeks if it becomes reality. For the fans, the emotional component is palpable. Social media channels are already buzzing with theories, analysis, and speculation. Some fans refuse to believe the whispers, clinging to the hope that this is just a negotiation tactic or a temporary misalignment. Others are preparing emotionally for what could be an undeniable turning point, discussing potential replacements, draft strategies, or free agent acquisitions. The rumor has taken on a life of its own, with every tweet, forum post, and sports segment feeding into a larger narrative that mixes anxiety, excitement, and anticipation. It's this uncertainty, this tension between what is known and what is possible, that defines the current atmosphere surrounding Tyreek Hill's Miami future. And so, we find ourselves at a crossroads, teetering between the past and the potential future. The speedster who has thrilled Dolphins fans, who has changed games in the blink of an eye, may soon be trading stadium lights in Miami for a different city altogether. While no one can confirm with absolute certainty the next move, the accumulation of whispers, insider comments, and quiet maneuvers suggests that a decision has already been made behind the closed doors of the Dolphins organization. For now, it remains a story shrouded in intrigue, a rumor with enormous implications, but one that fans, analysts, and league insiders are watching with bated breath. Is this truly the end of an era? Everything points toward yes. And if the whispers hold true, Miami football is on the brink of a chapter that will be remembered as much for who is leaving as for who remains. The countdown has begun, and while the announcement may not come today, the narrative is already set. Tyreek Hill's time in Miami may be slipping into history, leaving fans to wonder what comes next in the ever-evolving saga of the NFL. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.